All right, guys. Well, welcome everyone to the first Study Unit podcast. Hopefully, more many to come. I'm your host, Playgrounds, and joined with me today are McNeill and Ramisaur of the Study Unit staff, as well with CrspyBreast and members, foes, and solo Armadyl. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Great.
Good to hear. Well, we've got a lot of questions today, so let's just jump right into it. And first, we'll start off today with a little bit of recent news about Mod Jed. We know that he recently hacked into a lot of players' accounts and stolen over about 100 bill. We know that a lot of these other accounts are now being rehacked after their money's been refunded to them. So let's go and talk about some of account security. So we can start off with CrspyBreast on this one.
Hi guys, how's it going? So as I've been studying it for about a little over a year and a half now, and about a year ago I was hacked for the first time. So this is a very real and what you would call it, something that gets on my nerves when people get hacked. The biggest thing to know when somebody gets hacked and they say they've been hacked, it's hard to justify whether they real world traded or if they actually were hacked by an outside person. It gets on my nerves when somebody assumes that they real world traded. Like myself, I've been hacked twice in my entire playing RS, and I've never real world traded. But the assumption of when you get hacked is that you real world traded or you got banned for breaking the rules in some which way. With the recent Mod Jed hackings, accessing accounts, Study Unit has been affected. There is members of the clan that have been refunded GP and items as like within the last week, as it related specifically to Mod Jed. For their account security, we won't go into details of their account name or the wealth that was returned to them. But my account personally was not one of those few, because obviously the hacks happened over a year ago. The biggest thing that I can tell everybody that might be tuned in right now is that the account security system that Jagex has is pretty bad. The hacker got through my information, my bank PIN, my authenticator, two-step authentication on my email, within an hour and a half of me logging out, going to class and coming back, and having everything removed from my account. So the biggest thing that I have to say, if anybody, I don't know if this ever reaches back to Jagex, is that the security system is flawed. It definitely needs to be improved. And as a player, the best way to, I guess, protect yourself from hackers is to, obviously, step one, don't click on any fishy links that whether you don't know somebody in like a Discord or a Twitch stream and somebody posts a Gyazo link, don't click on it. You risk being ragged. Number two, change your password every now and then. It doesn't have to be every week, but maybe once every couple months. That way, if somebody does start getting your information, start looking into hacking you, then you have, I guess, a trail of changes of passwords, changes of emails that are related to your account with the two-step authentication and whatnot. And don't give out real-life information to anybody. They could be your friend for 5 months, and then all of a sudden, they just have a bad day and they want to go ahead and try and recover your account because you got into an argument with them. Never give out personal information, whether that be your real name, full name, where you live, what kind of internet provider you might have, your wealth on your account. Always try and keep that a secret. You never want to release any kind of information regarding how much money and in-game items you actually have, because that will target or make you a target for additional hacks. For anybody that has been in my position that's been hacked, I know how it feels, and best thing I can tell you is that, you know, just try and recover. Don't feel too bad about it. It's happened to many other people in the game, and you know, I wish you the best in your recoveries. But we're specifically to the ModJag situation now. It really gets on my nerves that somebody from Jagex actually abused their moderator privileges to take wealth out of the game from basically from high value clans, whether it be the PvP community or the PVM community, and create drama with that. Does anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, we had a few people that got returned wealth because of Jed. That's, you know, and it's really unfortunate because we obviously don't know that happens at the times, so they have to leave the clan or whatever because they lose their gear check. And yeah, we obviously just assume they've very well traded or broken a rule or done something like. But it is, yeah, it's really unfortunate by him. And even without the Jed situation, like you said, it's so easy to get recovered through the recovery system. I've known people that did it for like an income. They would just social engineer on Twitch and then recover accounts because it's really easy. So yeah, like you said, just don't give out personal information as best you can. Don't brag about your wealth, even though it's fun to flex.
It's a broken system, but then the ModJed thing was different. He literally went and scammed, like hacked people's accounts and took like bills off of it. That's like completely different, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't get around someone's legality for like that kind of thing. That's just inherently just on the person. There's really no security as a player that you can do, but as a player you can take steps to prevent anything that you can, like not having a two-step authenticator or something like that. Like any amount of protection is better than no protection. So I mean, to go back onto Chris's point about having two-step and doing everything that you can to not give out personal information or have not yourself like being social engineered, that kind of thing. You can have two-step on each of your emails that are used for your account, and then a two-step on that email itself. So there's stuff that you can do to take those kind of measures, but any little thing can happen. But we trust in the system, but sometimes the system's flawed, but that's all we can do. We take the risk by playing the game. So
I mean, it really is as little as taking pictures of, you know, you trade people wealth and just taking a picture of it. Like, you know, so you lend someone something without collat, you just take a picture of it, you know, like it may not mean something to you and you may trust them, but you never know when they just, you know, like you said, have a bad day and there it goes. You know, they just don't want to get
500 mil.
Yeah,
500 mil.
Yeah, and I can speak from that firsthand as well. It's happened before recently, you know, but after, you know, you can't trust everybody, you know, take pictures of that kind of stuff as well, get collat, you know, sometimes, you know, the people you don't expect to not pay you back, you know, are the ones that betray you. But I mean, it also just comes down to how seriously you take the game. If you don't take the game super seriously, then you don't care you get hacked. You know, I wouldn't, you know, I couldn't really complain a lot, but if you take the game serious and you PVM and you really care about your account, you should definitely take all the steps that Jeff and Chris were saying about security and really put it into, you know, consideration. You know, you got to ask yourself, how serious do I, you know, play this game and how much do I care about it, you know? So yeah. I think just taking the right steps in the right direction, you know, will really put you in a good spot.
Yeah, it gives you something to start in, and if they ever do improve their account security, then you're just already a step ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean,
just don't.
Go ahead, Post.
Just don't lend items without collat. Like, it doesn't matter how long you've known a person. They can, like, I think Chris said it, just one day they can up and just take your items, and it's like, that's it, it's gone.
Yeah,
Fucking
not much you can do about that, but
Yeah.
just don't trust anyone, basically.
Yeah.
And
You can't-
obviously you take as many steps personally back to the hacking. Like obviously this question is about hacking, but not necessarily about scamming. Everybody in the game knows that you can get scammed left and right. But with the hacking thing, like you try and safeguard your account as much as possible. But you can, if you get to the same situation me where I've been hacked on that account twice, I actually lost that account because I basically had to restart a brand new account and level it up back to start requirements. That was the only way that I could like basically secure my account, because whoever accessed my account had, I guess, personal information on me, enough so to recover my account the second time. So I basically I lost a maxed account, or a max combat account. It wasn't total max, but I lost a max combat account because of that. I still have access to it to this day. It's not like it got banned or anything, but
Right. You just lost all the progress you
I just
had on
can't
it.
play on it anymore
Yeah.
for safety reasons. So
I think we're kind of all in agreement though that the account security could be updated a little bit from that side, but there's still preventive measures that we all could take.
Yeah. Also on that, I think people should not take accounts that their friends lend them and then play them for like a year and like train them up and get it like $5 on it, and then it gets recovered, because I've seen that happen a lot, and it's like,
Yeah,
just
it's
make
never
your own
worth
account,
doing.
man. Yeah, it's not worth doing at all.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, Duo Armadyl. Comment in chat saying something stupid like 80 or 90% of all hacking is social engineering. You never
Yeah,
know
it
when people are
definitely is.
listening or trying to social engineer you, so you got to be aware of that.
And you
too.
never, yeah, and you got to be aware how little information it takes, like how much they can piece together by just giving away a couple of things, like your name and the state you live in, maybe what university you went to, or something like that. So just
exactly.
Yeah.
There might not be enough options for internet providers in the state that you're in, so they have 1 of 5, 20% possibility of choosing the correct one.
Yeah,
on the
or
recovery
even
form.
the city that you're in, your city, you might only have 1 or 2, so that's already narrowed down. So I think we've kind of summed up that topic pretty good. I want to move on to the next question, but before we do that, I want to thank was it this new RSRS
Squarespace?
and Duo Armadyl for following the stream. Thank you guys. If you guys have any questions that you want us to feature or talk about, then feel free to post in the chat, and we'll take a note of it and put them in when we can. Alright, moving on to more recent update from this Thursday, the Withdraw X feature and also the Bucket Pack update. All together, those came into the game. What are our opinions on it, and do you think this will
Chris
lead
got
into the
something to say about
PVM side of the game? Start off with you, foes, this time.
Withdraw X feature, I like it. I mean, it makes skilling easier, obviously. A lot of people go for like devaluation of the old school feel, but I'm pretty sure people that like have strong feelings about that have basically quit, because the game has changed so much since it came out since it was like released in 2013. How it's gonna affect, how I think it's gonna affect, will this bleed into the PVM side of the game? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it'll ever get to the point where it's like it'll like auto cast your prayers for you and shit. I mean, there's tools that will help you, like on RuneLite, there's the 1-tick thing that like helps you 1-tick, but it's never gonna get to that, just the most brain dead point of like PVM. I think PVM is safe from that, where skilling isn't, which kind of sucks for them, I guess.
Right.
all right. Yeah, yes and no. I kind of agree. Well, I think that is the separation you should hope for, is that you can make skilling a bit easier, because the game is quite grindy. And that, even though I don't really like it, because does make it so super easy, but like Jagex have been known in the past to just go too far with all sorts of power creep kind of things or quality of life. So it really could go from this to down the line, and then you've got literally 1-tick pray flick assistants in the live client that just do it for you and stuff like that. So as long as we keep limiting it as best we can to not make everything easy, it can't be that easy, then I'm okay with whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you guys. I mean, I think it also could help with other things. So, for example, I think skilling, it helps a lot with skilling, 100%. I think, skilling is such a long grind, and having that X feature does help. Going into PVM, I don't know if it'll integrate really, but I mean, one thing I would be curious to know is if it works at Raids 1, and if it did get incorporated into Raids 1, how much would it help with alting? Would that speed up the raids with all the new gear put into the game, or with Scythe, Rapier, Staff all being implemented in the game now? Would that help us? When doing speed runs, would that help the alt? Quick draw and make pots faster. I don't know. I don't know if it even works, but if it did, I think it could possibly help in that aspect of the game.
Right, kind of like where do they draw the line? If they added it to the bank, why not add it to raids?
Yeah,
it's a good point.
I just think it could be very.
Should they add it to raids?
No, I don't think they should add it to raids. I don't think it's really needed to, but I'm just saying, like, where does the point end? You start a slippery slope, and at what point does it stop? So.
Yeah,
it's really hard to undo updates, so you have to be really careful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't think it should even be added to the game in the first place. Obviously, with the 75% vote, if the majority of the people want it 75% or more, it gets put into the game. Now, the bank interface was changed with the update. I know it's very small, very minimal, but with them changing the interfaces as much as they are every time there's an update, what happens when they're going to add the next update? They're going to make everything, obviously, it's such a small, minimal thing, but they'll change where everything is around. You have to get reoriented with your clicks. For instance, when they added new spells and stuff, and Barrage moved from one side of the prayer map to the other side of the prayer map, obviously the locations moved and whatnot. It's such a minimal thing, but I would have preferred it to be a toggleable option. If you want this feature, then yes, give me the interface as it is now. But I don't like how it changed everything with the interface for everybody. I know it's such a small thing, but down the line, if they keep adding stuff to it, then it could get more clustered.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Solo?
If you play mobile, it's I don't know how many people have mobile versus the iOS to Android, but if you play mobile, man, and you're doing something, just sit on the bank and you can just click, just 14, and then you're just like, it makes it so it's not the, typing in like you're playing on your phone, like you can actually play OSRS low key, everywhere, literally everywhere, and it's nice, how far the game's come, and yeah, people are talking about how they want to keep old school RuneScape the same way, but we all want to see change. We all we want something else to work for, something else cool in the game. Like this game can keep growing. We just gotta ride it out.
That's fair. That kind of leads into our next question here, but before we do that though, I'm gonna touch one more thing, and then maybe let's pause real quick. We have Digo, Iron Med Helm, Baga, and OSRS Hell. Thank you guys for following. No, it's like the big thing is where does it stop? And I mean, like for mobile, that's nice, but I remember a tweet that a JMod put out where it was like, mobile is not going to affect the gameplay of the actual client like itself for like computer users, that kind of thing. But this has been added to the game, so.
They also said dead man wouldn't take away your dev time.
That's a fucking joke.
Exactly. So you really never know what's going to happen. So next question I'm going to pose to everyone is the quality of life updates that they're making like this, is that synonymous with Easyscape?
These ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Some aren't. Like if they do a graphical update on an Armadyl helmet or whatever, I don't care about that. That's just quality of life. It looks a little bit better. Changing how you interact with the game, that is Easyscape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it really opens the door.
Go ahead.
It really opens the door for easier botting script, anything, like how much easier can you make it now that the fucking bot clicks, here and then does 14, like, you can barely differentiate with how easy it is, who's doing, who's actually a person, AFK, or is a bot.
Right. Yeah, that's something, I don't know if that's something they considered, but I guess we'll have to see. And like with all these easier things coming into the game, like the withdraw X feature like that, do you think there could possibly be something down the line where it affects PVM in terms of like maybe I don't know, maybe like an in-game boss timer that's not an add-on from the third-party client, or something that makes like timings better, or something like, I don't know, something in the game that could affect PVM just outside of the bank interface. Do you guys see anything that could be added or pulled for that matter? Because the majority doesn't exactly mean, like, it doesn't hit the high-level community as much as we would like. Because they're in the business of making money. They go for the majority, and that's what the majority is we're dealing with. Do we see anything?
The high-level community is like such a small fraction of the game. It's probably less than 1% is what we would call the high-level community. So our impact on voting is like nothing. It's always going to be the majority, and if they want something, you know, that makes God Wars easier, it could inadvertently make the rest of the game easier. So it's hard with the voting.
Yeah, I personally think that the high-level community should have not more of a voice because it's such a minority, but the JMod should take into account what the HLC says, kind of listen to them. It's their most dedicated player base. I mean, why wouldn't you? That's like ignoring. Oh, I'm not gonna go into analogies. Never mind. Fucking Levine on Twitter started making analogies about RS, and I'm not going down that path.
Right.
I mean, kind of what you were saying, though. I am glad that they did take off the Theater of Blood easy mode off of the possibility of being pulled after listening to the high-level community. That was one time they did listen to the high-level community, and through our feedback, I would say more than 75% of people wanted an easy mode with no rewards, or the possibility of just justice hearing Hill, I think. I don't remember the whole conversation. That was so long.
Yeah, it was everything but weapons is what they pulled it as.
But I'm glad that Jagex did take into account the high-level community's feedback that this was end-game content. This wasn't meant for the level 100s. This was meant for the level 120 pluses. To be able to do hard, challenging content. There was Rage 1 for people that wanted to do easier type content that had less of a downside to dying. Whereas in Theater of Blood, if your entire team died, you had to wipe and pay 100k each and start over from the beginning. So that is one thing that I'm glad that Jagex did take into account the high-level community. I hope going forward that they'll do the same with other high-level content. I could care less about like a Gargoyle boss Slayer thing for like a 70 Slayer requirement to kill, but something that maybe the next Slayer boss comes out, if it's like a 95 Slayer required, that they listen to the high-level community and work with us to come out with rewards that are suitable for that difficulty of a boss.
Yeah,
it's fair.
And points. Let me piggyback off what Chris said there. So, and I do agree though. I'm happy that they didn't do it in easy mode for raids, because I mean, if you think about it, it's just like Inferno in a way where it's just it's a giant learning curve and a learning process for each person. It's been a few months now since it's been out, but everyone basically for the most part I think has a basic understanding or knows how to do it, has a good amount of KC. After a certain amount of KC though, you're gonna get bored. Just kind of just like with raids 1, you get like 2,000 KC, something like that. Some people just keep grinding it, but you like variation. So I think just making the game easier, allowing everybody to do it. You don't want to make that too much of easy of a game for somebody, and then all the prices start dropping for things. Then you get all the people in the highest tier of PVM complaining about prices and whatnot, and just it demotivates you to do that type of PVM. So I think there should always be a high level type of PVM, and things should be grindy. Like Inferno, I think Inferno is a great incorporation of the game, not just for the game, just individual skill it builds for each person. Just having to put the time to learn everything and understand the game a little better. So I think I'm actually happy that they didn't make an easy mode for Theater of Blood for price, and just so people can learn it all around.
Right. Okay.
Inferno's a good example, but that's like a standalone solo bit of content. I think they should take that stance with some group content, like TOB could have been that, and it still is, where they didn't make it the easy mode. They should do more of that, where they don't cater to people that can't do it. Just leave it as it is.
Great.
It's fair enough. So we've touched on Easyscape, and we've touched on kind of some of the recent updates, and this will just kind of like a breeze question over, since we've already touched on it a little bit, about dead end mode and mobile and how it will continue and influence the game. So I'll open it up we'll just go down the list. We'll start with CrspyBreast, and we'll just go all the way down to Solo Armadyl. Just a quick yes, no, and why.
I don't play Deadman mode at all, so any updates that go into Deadman mode do not affect me, and I could care less about it. With mobile, the Withdraw X feature I already talked about. I never thought it should have been added into the main game. I can understand where in mobile it's useful, because you obviously can't right click in mobile, you can only single click. So that makes it easier for mobile players, but I just don't want to see updates from Deadman mode and mobile being added into the main game at a rate that makes it too easy for the computer players.
Fair enough. What about you, Foes?
What's the question?
Just Deadman
Can I have it in
mode,
Spanish?
Deadman mode, and mobile. And do we think that it'll continue to affect the game? Yes or no? And a quick short why. Oh,
It'll definitely continue to affect the game. It's gonna devolve into what I think, if they continue down this path where they're trying to, I don't know if they're focusing OSRS over RS3 more. I think it's gonna get to that point where it's just completely like Easyscape, and I don't know if the game will die out, but yeah, I think that they will. They'll continue down that path. I don't know if Deadman mode. I think that's gonna. I mean, that's what brings in their money. So they also give away a shit ton of money. So I don't know. I think they're gonna continue that. That's a big PR stunt.
Okay. Just continue on. Let's try to breeze over these a little quicker. Have a lot more questions that are a little more bulk that we want to get to.
I mean, I played Deadman mode a little bit, not this season personally, but did a little bit last season just for the lols and the trading RS and R3 or old school GP for Deadman mode. You kind of had to earn it, and it was bannable. Even though you still did find people doing it, it was still seemed a bit more grindy, but I only spent any time doing it by myself, and I feel like other than the servers and stuff, I mean, it's more of a hardcore PK scene for the RuneScape people, and if you want to do that, like, shout out to Duo, who's been grinding that shit, not TOB. You can do and have fun and just still enjoy RuneScape in many different ways that it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me chime in one last thing. So I think, I think it's nice having all that variation in the game. I think that's what also attracts a lot of people into the game. Not everyone wants to come in everyone wants to do different things. People want to skill, people want to, PK, people want to do Deadman, people want to do Tournament World, people want to do PVM, they want to do a bunch of stuff. I think, having, the diversity of, content in the game brings in a lot of people, even for mobile as well. It can bring people who aren't even at home to play, which is nice for them as well. But, I mean, I think it's good, but man, they got to save our servers, man. They be killing the PVM servers and using Deadman mode and stuff like that. But I don't know, if they can somehow chime in how to fix the server sometimes when all that stuff is running, it would help a lot.
If I get knocked offline once more when Deadman's online, I'm gonna fucking throw a brick through JGX HQ. So
it would also be nice to see some kind of a PVM competition every once in a while. I know we used to have PVM comps once a year type thing. They died out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It would be nice to have something like that again, that with a cash reward similar to Deadman mode. But right now, the only kind of tournament with cash reward is Deadman, so yeah, I guess they only want to give out to PvP community, not necessarily the PVM.
Yeah, I mean, they have PVM, they have the PvP armors. I don't know what they'll do with that, because this season they had the weapons and the armors in the game. So we'll see if that makes it to a poll again. But that'll be enough to conclude that portion. Now let's turn our focus more to stud unit related questions. We recently had a PVM comp, which the A team captain McNeill, here present, of the winning team. Just kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on the PVM comp, good and bad parts, because all are constructive. So, what are you guys' thoughts? And we'll start this one with you, McNeill.
I thought it was fantastic because I won. So it was never in doubt. I've never lost. I'm not about to start.
Other than that,
it was the first time we've done a bingo type event. Even though our last event was kind of similar, the fact you get points for items and whatnot. This one was structured a little differently, where you had to. It was bingo basically, so you could only complete certain tasks once. You got bonus points for completing them all. It was kind of fun. We have to balance it a little bit better next time because we had a couple of things that weren't weighted properly for how difficult they were.
Right, but
Would you like to elaborate?
Given the timeline, you finished the
Yeah.
sheet in 9 days out of the 14 given. So, I mean,
Yeah, in those 9 days, I did gain 110 efficient hours bots, so it's kind of
Nerd.
gross. But yeah, the hard bit with that is balancing. I also don't think every PVM event should be bingo based. It doesn't have to be. It can just be like based on our leaderboard points. So you just get points for any high level PVM item you get, basically, or something different altogether. Bingo's fun and it's hype, but it doesn't always have to be like that.
right.
I thought it was good overall, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to
I
chime in?
can. Yeah, I think just to piggyback off what Liam said, I think there was a lot of goods, and there's a lot of learning experiences for us. I think a PVM comp's always really fun. It really gets into everyone's competitive nature, especially in video gaming. Especially like Liam's team, for example. Liam will refuse to sleep, but I do think it brings a lot of people together, and you start to meet people that you never really met before, and you start PVMing and teaching them, just throwing them wisdom this way and that way, just getting them become better PVMers all around just helps the clan as a whole. Like Liam said, also I do think it is important that we learn. There are a few maybe tiles I would say in our bingo comp that we could have adjusted, but it is a learning experience, and I think the more we do, the more knowledgeable we'll be in those brand new type of events. But yeah, overall though, I think it was really good for the most part, and everything else just learning experience from there.
Okay.
Well, kind of going off of what you said, Rami, and Liam, with some of the tiles being too easy, the main reason for that with the Vegas bingo was because we were expecting a 500 mil prize pool with about 20, we had maybe like 25 to 28 people that we expected to be signed up for the competition. So we removed some of the harder things like getting Primordial Crystal and Amulet of Torture from the red tiles to make the red tiles easier. We removed some of the Barrows items from being like one full set of a specific Barrows, like say Varric's helm, Varric's skirt, Varric's top, and flail, to be one of each slot from any brother. So we made it a lot easier because we didn't expect as big of a turnout. We had 5 teams of 8, if I recall correctly. Or was it
7?
What was
We
it?
had 6 teams of 7.
6 teams of 7. So we had 42 people with a 1 bill prize pool. So because we had so many people, we didn't expect that many more people to sign up. So I think that maybe made it easier to get some of the harder tiles. It maybe was the reason why we finished the bingo board in the time frame that Liam's team did. But all in all, I think it went pretty well. And yeah, sure, some need to get balanced better, but same thing with the other types of PVM comps that we've done within the clan previously. We need to balance the point system better for those competitions as well. It's never going to be perfect, but we can get it closer to being a good fit for everybody during our comps. I definitely expect there to be more PVM comps in the future, possibly even with other clans or against other clans.
Fair enough. So we talked about the current one with the bingo board, and from when I first joined Stud, we had the leaderboards, and now we've done the bingo board. So I want to pose a question to anyone. What do we want? What are we thinking about for the future? What would you guys like to see, or maybe some ideas?
A combination of
Sorry,
both with a random boss allowing more points if we were to do a point system on that day. Say we did like a week-long competition. Monday would be Bandos. So if you went to Bandos on Monday, you got Tassix. The Tassix would be worth twice as much on Monday, or 1.5 times as much on Monday than if you got it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. with the boss changing each day. That way there's a change in the PVM content that we do, so we're not focusing only on God Wars Dungeon or only on raids. We hit all the big bosses throughout RS and get a variety of PVM with a variety of new people in the group. I did like how we did the draft system to not have a stacked team. It was captains that picked the team, and when we got down to the last 12 people to get picked, it wasn't necessarily the best friends of the captains, it was the members of the clan. So we got more people together to kind of meet each other and PVM together. So that was really good for the clan. So
well, I mean, I really enjoyed the PVM comp quite a bit. You get a PVM with people from not only the US but just a whole variety of all over. I mean, Belgian, Australian, a bunch of EU. You find out people live close to you in the US that you didn't know were on the same time zone as you. I mean, it's good. It is a great experience. It's really team building, and it's really what the clan needs, and it's what this game needs. I mean, you don't need to divide a game that's already kind of divided between PKers and PVMers and all sorts.
Yeah.
It's a fair point.
I think down the future, I'm a big fan of like the point system. I liked how we did with the bingo. I think bingo was pretty fun and it was pretty different. So it's not something you could just it was a different strategy for each day. I feel like depending on what loot you could get is how you planned out the day. In the future, I think versing another clan would be cool, but I don't know, I'm a big fan of maybe we could try a solo. If not a bingo, maybe a solo bingo type of competition. That way it just encourages a lot of people to just individually work on their skill. Like for example, like soloing a boss, or so I'm not saying everyone should be able to do this, but the best way to learn something solo or a boss inside out, I think, is to solo it. So for example, I think learning Chamber Xerix, for example, if you solo it, I feel like you have a really good understanding of how it goes. So for example, learning that would really give you a good insight of how everything works, and could make you a better PVMer. That way also you couldn't really complain, I would say, for the lack of time each member's put in. I think that just becomes down to you. How much time do you want to put down, and how efficient do you want to be could be what it comes down to. But I think down the line, maybe a solo or duo, or something that improves our skill all around more. I think being in a team helps you become better as a team individually, but I think if you solo, I think might be the best way of learning things besides being in a team as well.
Yeah, I definitely want a solo comp in the future.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it can be like a solo bingo, or like I don't know what Chris was talking about, how like a boss of the day or boss of the week type thing. The thing with that is, like, my big thing with the PVM comp was fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're the first round pick.
Yeah, first round pick, by the way. No, my big thing was the having the tiles on there that kind of like get really grindy and you kind of don't want to do by like day 2, 3, 4, whatever. Like the God Wars dungeon and like Rebs, for example. Really hated Rebs. Yeah, because you finish it like in 4 hours.
Just
I was there for like.
I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Fuck off. I think the aim should be, if we do like a team styled competition, and I think it should be focused around Chambers and Theater of Blood, definitely. Maybe throw in some God Wars dungeon for variation, but it shouldn't be like the meat and potatoes of the competition. That's kind of what it turned into for us.
Right.
As if you've ever eaten meat and potatoes.
I do think it's
I agree.
Go ahead.
Go on, Jeff.
Huh?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I think in the future, variety is a good thing. Like, there's no perfect PVM comp. It's just what we feel like doing at the time. So do a solo comp, do a comp that's only raids 1 and 2, do a short competition that's only 3 days of intense grinding. Do whatever. Just change it every time a little bit, and it will keep it interesting, rather than trying to aim for a perfect format, because there isn't one. People like different things.
Right, and that's what we have feedback for, to improve the next time, and then hopefully that'll make things better. Because, like I mentioned before, we've done the leaderboard, and now we've done the bingo, and each of those have had their own little mix of things that we need to improve on. So hopefully the next one will be bigger and better, because we had a one build pot this time. Pretty crazy comparatively from the last one. So those are things that we can improve on, and obviously feedback. We can't make everything perfect, but I mean, it's tough to kind of balance everything when you're thinking of it beforehand, but thinking of it in hindsight, that's what we need to try to keep things in mind for the next time. Does anyone have any other points before I move on to the next question?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Want to kind of touch on about stud unit as a main focus real quick, and look at gear checks. Obviously we have our Infernal Cape Rack coming up in January. What are we looking at past that? Like, what do we ever see Scythe becoming a wreck? I'll even tag onto that even Twisted Bow. We'll say Twisted Bow, Scythe, two biggest ticket items in the game right now. What are we kind of thinking about that?
Bow, yeah, Twisted Bow, yes, that needs to be considered in the future. It's quite stable, like ish. It's never really dropped far below 1 bill. It's useful all over the game. It's definitely that before a Scythe. I wouldn't ever consider Scythe part of a gear check. It's best in slot a few places, but like in a super negligible way. It's only really like excels at like the Olm hand and Raids 2. So it's not worth it. But you know, past the gear check we have after January 1, everything else about after that is kind of like, I don't know, like if you add the staff from Raids 2, it's a small increase, but it's not as big as requiring Bandos and Armadyl over not having that, for example. So the increases in gear check are going to get smaller, going to get less important over time. Yeah. Other than T-Bow's a big one to consider in the future.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on that as well. I think in the future, after Infernal Cape Rack, I think, if there's other few items that would be really nice to have, I think, having a Sanguinity staff eventually would be really nice. It's way more useful, I think, than the Trident. T-Bow, I think, could be the big one. I think it should be the big one, actually, because it's just so useful, and anywhere that, that's, for the most part, just range-based. You could just tell, Gamer 0x, Theater of Blood, all that good stuff. T-Bow just melts everything, and like Liam was saying, the price is very stable, and if you're an avid PVMer and you do Theater of Blood, even just one scythe split is, it might sound easy. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy to get a scythe, but just getting one scythe split puts you almost right there in that realm of buying it. And I think, it being the price it's been for the last, a year and a half or so, I think it will definitely eventually be a wreck if that's what we conclude as staff. But I think Sanguinity staff would be a really nice one as well to throw in there. And T-Bow, I don't think scythe, maybe long term, but I wouldn't even consider scythe to be a gear check like that. I think Twisted Bow is more important in PVM than a scythe, but I think Sanguinity staff and T-Bow would be the ones to look out for maybe in the future.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Sanguinity staff and eventually T-Bow, but scythe, I mean, yeah, like you guys said, it's negligible. It's only good for TOB, which should be looked at. Zenite asks, will Armadyl helmet be a requirement instead? No.
No.
Armadyl helmet?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's so cheap anyway. If you want it, grab it.
Some things aren't worth listing on the requirement, like a blowpipe is not worth listing because anyone's going to have one that's going to be PVMing anyway.
Yeah, it just becomes too detailed as well. You don't want to have too detailed of that kind of stuff. You just expect people to have it. It's like I don't know. It's just some things you expect people to have, like a trident or a blowpipe, or
Yeah, it's not listed, but it's expected to kind of have as a general thing, basically.
Yeah, a lot of places.
Yeah.
If we have to check that you've got a trident and a blowpipe, you've probably got bigger issues going on.
That's
Rating
true.
in Mystics, by the way.
Yeah. Gosh. All right. Is there any other points that we want to make before we move into any points about stud just in general before we move on to the bulk PVM update related questions?
Good plan.
Okay. Moving quickly to the next one. opinions on Justicar in the Inferno. Should it be allowed? Should it be shamed?
Gross.
And was it a
Shame.
mistake to introduce it for the sole purpose of watering down arguably the only difficult content in the game? Basically, just kind of get your comments on just Justicar in general as the set, and then what we think about Justicar Inferno Caves. We'll start with you, Rami, on this one.
All right. Well, okay. I've never really used Justicar. Throw that out there, but just from what it seems like, it just seems so overpowered in a lot of situations. I mean, people use it in Inferno, go for it. But I mean, I just think it would be better if people appreciated how much of a grind and how nice of learning experience Inferno is. I wouldn't want someone just to run on there, sit there for 650 minutes and get the cape. I think you need to appreciate that type of content in the game. Being that tanky, people definitely overabuse it. Yeah, but I think if you're gonna get a cape like that, you should definitely go back on a Slayer task and get it a few more times. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of just tanking through something just to get it. I think people should understand and feel like how the other people used to. Like, for example, just like the people who got the capes before, people, used to have imbued hearts, people used to have this, and then, eventually it became a thing not to bring it, just the grind that other people had to do. You don't want it to become easier. And I mean, that's what Justicar kind of did, but I think people should also try to appreciate and figure out, how people used to do it before how they got the cape without the update of Justicar. Because I think it was, more grindy, but I think it was, I want to say more respectable, but at the same time, it's more respectable, I think, getting it without Justicar and just camping specs. But I don't think running in the Inferno and specking for 600 minutes is the way to do it. I think the best way to do it is just speed run it so you learn it faster, because I know a lot of people just hang in there and, just camp specs. And I was there too at one point, but then eventually I just said, screw this. I can just do a whole nother run if I just speed run it. And I mean, that's what I ended up doing. And that's the fastest way you're going to learn it at the end of the day. Have 3 runs versus 2 or, 4 versus 2. But I think Justicar definitely is overpowered and super tanky, and I definitely think people should do Inferno without it, and just so they can learn more rather than just tank everything.
Right. I mean, a lot of it comes down to knowing the mechanics, and you can just kind of just ignore the mechanics with Justicar. So it's kind of a way of sort of cheating, I guess you could say, because you really don't learn, and you don't become a better PVMer because you don't learn tick timings and stuff like that. So I definitely do think that Justicar has watered down the community with Infernal Capes, but who knows what other content they're going to introduce in the future that Justicar is just going to make that content completely irrelevant, basically. Like, instead of having to do a mechanic to figure it out, just like Inferno, you can just slap on Justicar and call me a tank, right? So that's one thing that I think that they're going to have to consider in the future when they do updates like this. So I really hope that this is the only place that it affects. I do like that it's used for dolos, but that's about the only thing. Like, dolos,
that's really its only useful thing, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like 0.2% of the community doing dolos, with that kind of stuff. So it's not even a high number turnout, but I think it would be good for dolos as well.
Wait, you guys don't tank Berserk with a bulwark?
No, not since day 3.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's my boy Simi.
Just reading some comments here from the chat. Zenite says Justicar doesn't get you Infernal, and Duo Arma mentioned that he doesn't mind Justicar because it's slow, but you still have to do suck anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Justicar doesn't. It's not guaranteed, like you're saying, Rami. But I mean, I would say that it does give you an advantage to get to Zuck, which is basically the only challenge. I mean, the more times you get there, the easier it is. So
I'd say it gives you a huge advantage, because for me, I never found the actual Zuck fight really difficult. That was the easy part of it. The learning the waves and the spawns and how to flick things was more difficult. Yeah. So if you had a lot of people like that, and if they can just face tank through bad spawns, then that sort of defeats the purpose of learning the mechanics or learning how to flick and stuff like that. Then you just get free Zuck attempts, basically.
Yeah, and I'm not taking away from anyone who gets an Infernal Cave with Justicar. I'm just saying, I think what Liam said, it is hard. I think looking back at it, the hardest part of the Inferno is getting to the waves where you're gonna have to get to Jad and Zuck and all that stuff. And once you learn the mechanics for Jad, triple Jad, and Zuck, I think that becomes the easiest part of it. You do die probably a few times throughout the road, just not being behind a shield or getting Rambo'd, but you do know what to do at that point. And if you follow it consistently, there's not really much variation versus the waves, which can give you multiple spawns in multiple places, which require you to adapt. But not taking away from it, I just think it gives you an advantage getting to the
actual fight itself.
You're more experienced, easier portion of the cave.
I mean, it's easier. Like, there's no debate that taking Justiciar into the Inferno makes it easier because you can just face tank. But personally, I think a cape's a cape. But if you use Justiciar, then you're gonna cop some shit. Like, you shouldn't get off defensive and like be like, no, like I'm gonna leave PVMer. Like, you used fucking Justiciar.
Yeah.
The cape is not a cape. If you tank the hit, that's not a cape.
True.
I mean, the only thing I can compare Justiciar to is SGS spec. What's the difference between wearing Justiciar to get through waves and spending 600 max waiting for specs on SGS with Barrack's helm?
You still have to perform. You still have to perform the actual waves itself without tanky gear.
The only waves that it really helps on is the last,
like 60 to 64.
Last 15. The last, I would say the last 15 waves. Maybe not. I don't know. It really doesn't. It's like 10 waves. It's like 10 waves that it helps on, but it's not like a huge thing. It's like you can do it with SGS, even if you tank a hit every. I don't know. Say you don't flick the blobs, you're gonna get hit like a 30 or something. But you just wait for your SGS spec to come back.
I mean, does it?
Yeah, that's not the issue though.
Really
It's like
different.
waiting for that. The issue is like there are so many spawns that have like double blob, or you've got a ranger and a melee on you. Normally you'd have to flick them. If you just put the armor on, then you never have to flick. And it's not that you would have to spend more time SGSing if you didn't have the set. It's that you would actually just die if you didn't have the set. You'd have to start over, or you'd have to use 4 brews or something like that. But the set is insanely tanky, and it helps with like all the late waves of every section. Like before the mages spawn, you've got the rangers and the blobs and everything. It helps with like everything. It makes the wave so much easier.
Right.
So I want to also, since we are talking about this and a bunch of us have Inferno capes, what are you guys' opinions on it versus the people who are doing it right now? So like example Solo, Cares, like what else are you guys? Do you guys think you would do it with a cape? Well, like walk me through how you guys would do Inferno. For example, say, are you guys trying to do it with the whole Just Scar set just to learn it and come back to it, or are you guys doing it just without the Just Scar set? Because you guys are doing it now. I'm just curious to know, how you guys are going about it. You, Solo and Chris.
I mean, I don't use Justicar personally. I mean, it's not really necessary because I am trying to learn the more along the lines of how to deal with stuff when it spawns and kind of fuck locations and flicking it, correctly.
Yeah.
Like, it's what the game's supposed to be about, not just, But I can say that, I'm not at the GE trying to buy a Justicar set right now, so you guys can shame me for a cape.
Yeah. I don't buy it. I mean, cape's a cape at the end of the day, but
yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like, I look at, you can say, oh, you watch people do triple jazz and that looks easy, but, it's one of those things kind of like confidence. It's like, yeah, if I get there, I feel like I can beat it. And I'm sure everyone's been there, but, when you start having some serious improvement in the game, you actually start to enjoy it more. I enjoy TOB more, because making 3 bill in a month is a lot more fun than, sitting in this thing, dying in 48 waves, and then just sitting here being like, well, I'm gonna go play another game to come back and not rage and do another run.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like Inferno, it's a big grind. Some people finish it in a week, some people finish it in a month. It varies all around. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think a lot of it just comes to just experience and just relaxing when you need to relax. For example, I'll put myself in, I'll embarrass myself right now. When I did my first cape, I got to Jad and I was panicking the shit out of myself because I've never got there before, and it was Inferno. It was the first time you were there, and then let's not take anything away from my PVM, but I was just super nervous. Everyone has Jad fingers. If you never had Jad fingers, then you're lying to yourself. It's that or you just have a problem. But I died to the single gen, I died to the triple gen, but then I learned from it, never died ever since, Like, I just kept progressing. But, I mean, it is a lot, especially when you get to Zuck, you have to just relax, and that's, what it comes down to PVMing as well. I think, the more you relax and you're in situations where you're more comfortable, the more you're going to excel all around.
Personally, I'm just gonna be wearing the Justice Your helm. I've already learned. I've learned the waves previously with the Varix helm. It's just at this point, like Varix helm versus Justice Your helm. There's no difference.
And that's fine.
I'm not gonna be wearing the whole set when I get my cape.
Yeah.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, it's definitely fair. I mean, I think Block said it's a learning tool in the Inferno, which is fine. But then I think people take it overboard where they just continuously use it to like I saw some dude on Twitter get his cape like on 2 tries, and it's like with camping full Justiciar and camping SG specs, and it's like you could not have done that last year. Like it's complete. I don't know if you want to say it's completely devalued, but it just sucks that they set that precedent, because that's how it's going to continue.
In your Twitch chat.
No, fuck off.
What? It should only be delayed. It should
Go away.
It should only be 10 to 15 seconds depending where you are, because I don't have like any sort of affiliate or anything, and I haven't turned on I haven't turned an upgraded stream like delay down or something like that.
Post
Look,
this.
Yeah, you're talking
you're
talking about the cap.
I died wave 15 and learned like everyone else. I learned what not to do in wave 15. How about that?
All right, buddy.
I think Chris's cat was trying to pipe up about Justicar. Can we get a talk about that one?
All right, next question. What else we got?
It's a kind of an add-on question from Gellert. He's asking just about Justicar and like if there's anything in the future that you'd like to see a tank mechanic introduced to the game. Since we have Justicar as a set, would you like to see a tank mechanic in Rage 3, for example, or something?
The only way that would work is if they made it literally impossible to tank in DPS gear. So the way the game works, DPS gear is always better. Once you learn the mechanics of a boss, it's better to have maximum DPS and bank more often or whatever than it is to have tank gear. Unless they made it literally impossible to soak the damage unless you had the set on. Like it could one hit you unless you had the set on. It would never be used.
Yeah, like at least one person needs to have the set.
Yeah, you need it. Exactly. Yeah.
A dedicated tank, like in Raids 1, how we have one dedicated tank that's blood barraging to return all missed health. It's a good implemented mechanic into the game that it needs. Jagex never knows how people are going to react when they create this content. They just kind of ride along. It's like them watching people do the first Infernal cape all in that little Jagex headquarter. Everyone's like ooh, like switching between the streams watching the first Infernal cape. Like that's the game's growing. It's what it needs, and it's on the right path. But yeah, Justicar, it obviously makes things easier. But other than Dolo, where you're kind of doing something on your own, more solo related, I could kind of see Stud Unit making it where, you join Stud Unit and then you got to go do an Infernal run, get a task, or go do a run, your first week on your trialist or something, something like that wouldn't be, maybe a thought for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So someone doesn't join just because they have a cape and they, because there are sellers out there, there aren't.
Surely not.
That's true.
Surely there are. I'm sure there's. I think there's one of them watching right now.
I don't know about you, but I've never heard of anybody buying an Infernal cape. So.
Yeah, me neither. Wait, that's a thing?
Next question.
Apparently. Anyways, moving on. We're gonna move on to the next question now. Looking at challenge mode raids.
Oh yeah.
Those came out, well, as we know, 2 weeks before TOB, and a lot of the community feels like they were a miss. I mean, I feel like we can sort of agree on that, where it's just the same set rotation and that kind of thing. What do you guys think how Jagex could make challenge mode raids viable in the community? I'll start this question up with you, Solo.
I mean, I do, some most solo content in the game, that you can. But, just if you could add, things that people could agree on in challenge modes that you can't get, kind of like the easier TOB, you got to have something that you can, bring new drops, bring other drops, bring, cosmetic stuff, if anything. So, with clue scroll answers, clue scroll stuff, they try to get in the game. But, if you could implement something where you're more rewarded other than, a pet that, shout out McNeill, who has the dust but doesn't have the pet, like that shit sucks. Like that shit sucks. Like that's not funny. Like I have 2 raids 2 pets, no omelets, but I'm at 1,000 raids 1, so you want to have more rewards. Like yeah, doing challenge modes is fun with like some people, but it's the time that really makes it fun. And doing 4+1s with us for the PVM comp, like 5+2s, like that's just as much fun. 16 minutes, boys, like quick 3-2. It's a pretty good run. If you guys are trying to grind out stuff, grind out pets, it's a good thing. But the community, it's like where either Jagex listens to the high level PVMing community on something that they want, whether it's like taking in their total level, their kill counts and such into like being more of a vote, which I doubt they'll ever do. But it's just the community's got to come together on other stuff and other PVMing content. But it's kind of nice with Raids 2 coming out and everyone's seeing all the new items. It's taking people out of God Wars Dungeon and they're like, oh, there's not only just one raid, like there's 2 raids. Like I could go do any of them and try and make money and learn. And there's, we do raids everything basically. They can teach you how to do everything. So
I do agree with the challenge raid thing. Like it is. The time spent on an average challenge raid is ridiculous compared to how long you'd spend on a normal 4+1, and it's they made it sound like it would be super difficult and super rewarding, like there'd be a reward to complete it. It would be difficult. It's not really any more difficult, it's just slow, and you don't get a bonus of points. You only get more points because there's more rooms in it. You get like a 5,000 point bonus at the end or something. It's never worth doing for money. People are only grinding it for the pet, like and it's not even worth doing it for fun either. It's not fun. They missed a huge opportunity with like catering to the high level community when they could have put it on a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly rotation of, it doesn't have to be the speed raids. It could just be any raid that doesn't have like Ice Thieving in it. Any rope crab raid between 3 and 5 combat would have been fine, and people would have competed for speeds in that week, and it would be fun. But it's yeah, they've lost a big opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also, building up to challenge mode raids, I'm pretty sure everyone was trying to figure out what the rotation was going to be, and I can guarantee you, I don't think anyone could probably predicted that it was going to be every room in the raid, because I'm pretty sure people were expecting like a rope thieving or like a cropes, or like, oh, we're going to get like 10-minute times, 11-minute times. I don't think anyone expected every rotation, but like it being the rotation it was, and Tecton being first, I'd rather have, Tecton be first versus all the way in the end where you got to rely on spec, because, if you did that and you missed your specs, what do? You know what I'm saying? Everyone's just going to die. So, I do think I can agree with Liam as well with, I think maybe changing it monthly would be nice, be like, oh, at the beginning of the month, it's time, new rotation, what's it going to be, That way it's easier to keep track of, but I think that could have been fixed more, because that's what I was looking forward to, because we're doing a lot of speed runs for a while, and I think that's a lot with PVM too. If you get burned out at stuff and you have a good team, I think going for time-based things is really, I think it makes it pretty fun, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. It keeps it interesting when you've got too much gold, you've got every item, you've got pets, whatever. Going for times keeps things fun.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it is for Chambers, 0x, Challenge Mode, and Theater Bowl. That's how it was for us, at least. We enjoyed going for fast times, being super efficient with it. But I don't know. I think changing it by week or just every month would be nice. And I think the bonus isn't. I think the bonus should be more. I think 5K is. I don't know, for just like Liam said, you get most of the points through the rooms. Everything's scaled up a little more, but I think there should be a little bigger boost in points. Maybe like. Maybe like 15K point reward, because it's 5K is 5K, yeah, but you're getting most of the points throughout the raid anyway, without deaths. But I think that, and I don't know, I think a lot of people are just grinding challenge mode raids for the dust, and I'm gonna be one of those guys as well. But if you're trying to get money per hour and stuff, the best way to do is just normal, 4+1s and stuff. But you would really need a really competent team in challenge mode to just do it efficiently to get the dust in the first place. So unless you have a team really just going, then it's not really viable unless you're trying to, get a dust. But
yeah, I wish they had something where, like there was a specific rotation that it gave you essentially the same kind of pet chance roll that Raids 2 gives you, but when you open the chest, you have a chance for omelet not off an item, but like for completing it in a set time, in such, in like such a manner where, people that are high level PVMers aren't, they're grinding pets, they're, when they have their money and such, it's like, it's what they want to do, kind of, it's like, it's not trying to take the devaluation of like an omelet and stuff, but yeah, being someone that has like a metamorphic dust but doesn't have, an omelet would be, tragic. Like, I would literally neck myself. Like, I have 9 challenge modes done, and like 8 of them are, 8 of them are done because one of them was dolo, but it was still just like, you need to have something for people to want to do.
Ask Liam how he feels about that.
Yeah, it's not fun. And the fact you need to do 2,000 of them to,
get a
if you're a
cape.
completionist player, to get the maximum cape. Shout out to DB Cooper. He's in for a long run. That is, it's ridiculous. They need to work on it. There's no one is going to sit through 2,000 of those. You jump off a bridge.
Yeah, and that's the thing also. I think they do need to change it. Just what's up?
No, I'm watching the stream. Never mind.
Oh, and that's another thing. I think they do need to change it just to keep it fresh, because people are gonna, once you finish Theater of Blood, a lot of people just get, just everything becomes just casual and just old very fast, I think. But I think if they keep changing the rotations, I think it's better. I think it's better even from a solo point of view. Like, I enjoy soloing grades. I know Jeff, Liam, Solo Armadyl, we all enjoy. A lot of people enjoy soloing grades if you do it. But like to do it in a challenge mode raid is just not the same, because doing 9 rooms or whatever the rooms is versus 5 is just, it's so much more. 1 hour raid versus like a 30-minute with 5 combats or something is it's way different. I think more people would solo and you get more pets and dust into the game if they changed it or every month or so.
Shout out to Lizardman Fangs and Saltpeter for hour-long.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, if I did a solo and that's what I ended up with, you best believe I'm just logging out for the year. Like, there's no way. There's no way I'm doing a full solo challenge mode scaled 1 hour of my time for that. So, I don't know. I think if they change it up, make it like a 5-2 or 5-3, type of rotation, you'd encourage a lot of solo people to do it more, at least.
I mean, it was dumb when it came out. They wanted to not make it the meta, but then they released it like 2 weeks before TOB, and it's like, if you don't make it the meta, then what's the point of doing it?
Yeah.
It's
That
just-
is true. The release date was stupid. Yeah.
It should have definitely been the meta. Like, it can still be changed, but they're not going to. I
I
don't
think the
think so.
timing of it was pretty bad. 2 weeks before TOB,
think-
a major update.
terrible.
I think they'll address it. I think people will, because they also are addressing supposedly quality of life updates for Raids 1 itself, like balancing rooms so they're actually viable, so we don't have to scout as much, rather than banning scouting overall. Just make other rooms more viable, so balance the points you get for an Ice Demon or a Thieving room, so the raids take a bit longer, but it's still kind of worth doing. Would make it better. I think they're looking for that.
I agree with
Coming
that.
2020.
I would like them to change it, because I do believe that the harder aspect of raids itself is pretty encouraging to like a high level community, and I really would like, because I mean it's really not dead content, and it shouldn't be. I really feel like it has a lot of potential, so I'd like for them to make changes to that. Are there any other points anyone would like to add before we move on to the next question?
I got one more thing I want to say. They do also need to think about it with challenge mode raids. Like, I'm glad, like I said, they put Tecton first. But in the future, if they're going to have Tecton, it's either going to have to be in the beginning, or you're going to have like an overload somewhere right before it or something. You can't just throw a Tecton randomly, So,
you don't Spectron Simulator, what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pain.
So, and the Raids 1 thing would be nice to change the scouting a little bit, because to be honest, I enjoy Raids 1 a lot, but I prefer Theater of Blood just because I don't got to run 2 clients and kill my you know, like my laptop or whatever you're on, you know, he doesn't have to burn it out. So just scouting in general can be really aid sometimes. And, you know, that's the nice thing about Theater of Blood. You don't got to have 2 accounts running to, you know, to play it. So
yeah, that's a fair point. All right. This is kind of more of an opinionated question. Kind of starting to move away from PVM updates and more into kind of like personal stuff, and we can use this time to kind of just talk about certain aspects of the game that you like and kind of want to promote. Favorite PVM update in the game lately. This could include TOB. I mean, obviously TOB has been more of the hype thing, so it's, I guess, try to stay away from TOB, mainly looking at like Chambers of Xerax and some of the other bosses that they add. Start with you, Crispy.
Try and tell me to stay away from Theater of Blood, but that's probably is my favorite PVM update in the last year.
Yeah, you went hard on that
really,
release.
It obviously took a couple days for the first completion to happen. Everybody remembers it took like 28 hours for the first team to complete it. I remember still being in the first first 15 teams to actually complete Theater of Blood, and that was a big grind that I put on myself and my team, and that was super fun. When we finally started getting completions, and we finally pulled the first drop, like 6k or whatever it was, like the money out of it was, you know, so good that we just kept on doing it, and the money stayed good for months, and it's still good money. So why would I want to do anything else PVM related?
That's fair.
That's a big.
And I've kind of reached the point where I'm at like, you know, hundreds of KC, and I've made, you know, so much money and stuff like that, that I find it fun to go for speed runs and times. Obviously, like 4 of my team members of my world record attempts are in this, you know, this call right now. And we all, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I mean, everybody in here had a fun time going for world records, finding out strategies for making rooms faster that were not the norm. We perfected certain rooms like Nihilocast. I would still say to this day, even though we don't hold the world record for the Nihilocast room, that our team is the best team in all of RuneScape for Theater of Blood Nihilocast room.
Not definitely.
Like the amount of times that we get sub 3 minutes 55 seconds is like, we can't even count it in the, like, it's like over 25 times we've done it. So it's like there's no doubt in my mind that like our team has potential to get a world record for the overall time. We've been close a couple times, like 3 times, been one hit away from breaking sub 17 minutes. And it's kind of off-putting when you lose a teammate with 20% Verzik left, when you know that was the run. But still, I mean, that's my drive. My drive is speed runs for Theater of Blood, and that's like my goal is to once again hold the world record for the total time. Because I know we had it for 3 days, and they never, or what was it, 3 or 4 days, but they never updated the. They never updated the sheet. Yeah, they never updated the sheet until the day that another team got it. So that was a slap in the face from Jagex to us. But you know, we pushed through it. And,
wonder why.
I wonder why as well.
All right.
But yeah, Theater of Blood was my favorite PVM content in the last year for sure.
Okay. What about you, Phil?
Do you guys have the Nihilocast world record?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We held it for like.
We held it for a long time. Like between their first and their, well, not their first, between updates, like a big time between updates, like
and we got like the same thing
month or so.
a lot, the same time multiple times, and with like bad boss rotations too. So
yeah, we've even completed it on like literally the worst. Like we had a double mage set on the boss, and we also had some other things happen in that. We still pushed out world record times on multiple occasions, so it can happen.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, no, we're super close all over. I think we like tied equal first on bloat. We got like the third fastest Maiden, second fastest fucking Sodi, second fastest Zarpers, second or third fastest Verzik. So
that's Verzik.
Yeah,
with a lot of potential in every other place. What about you,
Foes.
Liam, in terms of like PVM
Yeah,
updates?
foes.
Hello?
What's your favorite PVM update, foes?
His was just a question. I thought he was
Favorite
done.
PV? I don't know. I don't know what my favorite is. I enjoy. I don't enjoy Theater of Blood, but it's the best money, obviously. So I kind of want to do that, and then maybe go back to.
Fair enough.
Sorry, what?
I prefer Raids 1. I kind of like some of the mechanics in TOB. I don't like the static linear format, how it's always the same. I think they, like, the introduction of Raids 1 really broke away from what RuneScape always was. It was a great, like, step forward into what PVM could be in the future. And Raids 2 is also good. Like, the mechanics of the bosses are really fun and interesting, but, you know, there's only, 5 or 6 rooms or whatever, and it's always the same. So I'd like to see a blend of the two in the future when they do another massive PVM update, a team-oriented update. Keep it similar to both, but not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's anything new like that is fun because I would miss the Raids 1 release, but just I don't know, just being with all your friends and trying to find the best ways to finish things, day 1, day 2 releases, I think is a whole different, type of fun, and different grind, super sweaty as well. But, and just to like what everyone said, Raids 1, Raids 2, challenge modes, those are all really fun. Raids in general. I prefer the drop table a little better at Raids 1, just there's more versatility. I think it's easier to complete Theater of Blood maybe on an Iron Man when it comes to, just because it's less drops, obviously. But going, like Chris said as well, going for times really makes it really fun. And it really pushes you to your limits, I think, and helps you think faster under certain circumstances and all that. But I mean, now that I've done all this PVM and all these kill counts and done all these runs, obviously I want to go back and get all the times because I'm confident we can get world records in a bunch of challenge mode raids and Theater of Blood. I also do think it's fun playing from a different perspective of the game. I like a lot of other people will play our Iron Man regularly. I know a lot of people don't like Iron Man, but I think it's cool the concept of just making everything by yourself and playing it from a different perspective, instead of just buying everything from the GE. Everything you gain is literally just personal benefit, and you can't get it anywhere else. Like for me, example, like I figured Zora was so easy, and I'm looking at my Iron Man now. I haven't got a Magic Fang. I'm like 900 KC. I got 3 blowpipes and 900 KC. So it's annoying grind, but I'm sure I'll be thrilled when I'm done with it. So it's just cool to play the game from a different perspective, I think, of instead of just buying everything from the GE and having everything pre-bought, everything could just be earned instead. I think it's pretty cool perspective to play from.
It really is great. Can say I just got a Magic Fang from Zora, so shout out Ramisaur for not having that. RuneScape's just become such a great game throughout. Just over the years of coming from no GE, to fucking everything. It's become TOB, Raids 1, Raids 2, challenge mode. Like everything in the game is fun, and it's great because everything people really enjoy when it comes down to in the end is that time based, the fastest raids, the most raids per hour. People play the game to chill, they play to learn, or some people come and they just want to get as sweaty as possible. It's really just great that you can get on, have a clan that you're in, that it's a nice group of people that jokes around, has a great time, can do TOB comfortably with completions and still be having like a great time. Making 3-man's TOB right now is some of the best money in the game. So finding a couple people that have sites to just get a good time, that you guys just get on and get some completions done. It's money, it's money in the bank, and it feels good because you are, it's just like an Iron Man. Even though, I'm not an Iron Man, I'm still playing the game, ironly intended, I guess. Like I make my own pots and everyone roasts me, but I'm not 99 herbs, so. But everybody loves their certain type of PVMing content, and I've told so many people about, come to raids and I'll teach you, get out of the God War scene, and they're just like, nah, I want to do Slayer and chill, and that's what you want to do, That's what you're gonna do. You know, if you want to play mobile and do Slayer and chill, like it's a certain type. You know, some people don't take the game as seriously as other people, but for my goals and shit, I'm just trying to get Infernal Cape, and you know, now that I've got pretty much everything I need for you know, just my car set just bought. Time to go do an Infernal run. Hype.
Oh God.
No, I want to add on to what Crispy, excuse me, and Rami were talking about TOB content and just speedruns in general. My favorite stuff in the game right now is anything that involves speedrunning and doing it at efficiency. Just recently did my first Inferno speedrun, and I mean, albeit it was 77 minutes, which was a really good first starting time, I think. But that's something I want to improve on, and to me, that's going to be like a main focus of mine. And also doing Chambers of Derek's like efficient 4-1s, no prep 4s, no prep 8s, stuff like that will be a main focus of mine. I have a viewer question from earlier from Griffin Goes Hamilton, asking about TOB, whether it should be duo or soloable. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Soloable. Luke's is not.
I mean,
soloable as an efficient measure, like Raids 1 is.
I was gonna say, there's calling something soloable, then there's Luke's doing it. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not soloable. It is duoable, but like it's not fun in any way. If you want to put the time into duo it, then you go right ahead and reap the benefits if you can do it efficiently and make GP. They shouldn't make it any easier than it is now, or cater to smaller group sizes than 3, I don't think. But
yeah, that was what I was about to say. Like, obviously, the Nanocaster room is the hard room when you're thinking about less people in the rig. If you want to make it soloable and duoable, I think that would be the room to change to make it easier. But I am strongly against making anything in Theater Blood easier than it is right now. So if you can do it as a duo or as a solo player now, and you can reap the benefits from it for the whole rig, good for you. But I don't think it should be any easier to cater to solo players or to a duo team.
I think it'd be cool, though. I don't know. I don't think it should be easier. I can 100% agree with that, but I wouldn't want to say I would like it to be soloable or doable like that, because obviously it's impossible almost to solo it. Just look at Wooks. Wooks is a different breed, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to just try out a solo. I'm not going to jump in because it scales differently, but if it scaled to like a solo, but it was still very challenging, maybe that would be worth, trying. But I mean, I don't want it to become easier, but at a solo level, I would want it to be hard, but not as hard as it's scaled to now, because that's a different type of hard, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think it'd be cool.
It's not meant to be soloable. Like they said that. So
it's team content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think something should be locked behind team content. Like not everything.
Yeah.
I know there's.
I can agree with that. Yeah, and I can agree with that. I would like to see how it would look if it was, soloable, for example. Like I wouldn't want it to be easy. I wouldn't want to be like medium. Like I would want it to be really difficult, but not how difficult like where no one's gonna complete it. I would just want to know how it seems like. I do think there should be content though like that where you have to be with a team or a competent team to achieve drops, especially if you're looking at it from a solo PVM or from an Iron Man point of view. I think all around a good mix of everything's never bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want McNeill doloing, raids too. Like, get out of here. Like, you can go. Get out of here. Dolo raids too, because it's that easy. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Imagine.
You know what I want to see is maybe massing TOB, like put a 100-person cap on it.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be ridiculous, but yeah.
I thought it would be like 10, 20-person cap, something like that, because it would bring the skill back in it, like there was on release. You would actually have to work together to, especially on Verzik, to run in patterns and stuff like that, so you don't just kill everyone with missiles.
Imagine running Soda Segmaze with that, with 9.
God.
You misclick, you instantly die.
Or just like the scaling on Verzik's melee's hits would just be unreal. I feel like
Instant 99.
Zarpus, like everything would have to be so coordinated. I feel like it'd be hard to do it in a free-for-all, but if you had a team, maybe it'd be different. But I don't know, I like the team size, but I could see it being like a little higher, maybe like 7, 8.
I wish they'd add like a challenge mode, but like same thing where it's like time based, and then do like a transmog for the.
They might.
You know,
You never know. That'd be a cool
so that,
update.
you know, if you can do sub 20s, or I mean, we just got a sub 19 in Scythe, on this stream, so like that was and you guys are telling us that it's not even the best we can do, so make it, we're better.
I think that could. Yeah, and I think they might follow the same route with raids, the challenge modes, but they could possibly do that for raids too as well, and get it like a dust or something that looks like Soda Sag or Bloat or something different, and
That'd be cool looking.
The Bloat would be so cool. We were thinking Maiden looking like Kraken, kind of. The
Oh my
Bloat
God.
looking like Bandos. So like
that's the thing.
flying
That'd be
around
cool.
like the
Bloat pet.
Bloat
Yeah.
pet? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, Bloat
Yeah.
pet,
Oh my
man.
god.
That's gross.
That would be
That would
sick.
just-
I'd love
that would
that.
just-
That'd be sick.
I would literally give it a shower every day. Like,
Where are you gonna take it for a shower?
He's gonna jump in the waterfall, bro.
Wait, you would bathe in it?
yeah, use sponge on
Jump in the
Bloat.
water.
You use
What do you mean?
sponge on. Oh my god.
I don't know.
I think we're losing them, boys. Jeez.
All right, Jeff.
I mean, just kind of a closing point to that. I would say that I really don't want to see TOB changed in that way to make it soloable or doable. Chambers' Xerix is there for that reason. I mean, it wasn't exactly intended that way, but it is in the game. I don't think you really need to have two types of content that way. I really enjoy the TOB mechanics of team thing, and where you have your own soloable thing for Chambers' Xerix if you want to do that. So I think those two things should be mutually exclusive to one another.
Yeah.
That kind of brings up, I guess, our last topic question real quick. This will kind of just be like a run through real quick, yes or no, and why. Well, yes or no as in like this or that. TOB or Chambers' Xerix, and why. I mean, a few of you have already touched on this, but if you haven't touched on it already, just kind of just breeze over it real quick. Let's go down the list, starting with you, CrspyBreast.
Theater of Blood. Obviously, right now he's better money. Next. I think it was more fun than Chambers was for me.
Fair enough. What about you, Foes?
Same. TOB for money, Chambers for enjoyment, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Chamber's more fun. I've got a high level Iron Man, so I like to solo it. It's more fun for me.
All right. What about you, Rami?
Theater of Xerix, leaning more towards Raids 1, just because.
Theater of Xerix.
Yep, I mean, I just like the aspect of the difficulty in Theater of Blood is nice, and not having to alt is very nice to me, especially since I have a Mac and it sucks just having two clients running. But the variability in Raids 1 and the drops you can get and the efficiency is very good as well, that I really enjoy doing 3.5 runs an hour.
Right. What about you, Solo?
Oh man, TOB, yeet, man. That's
Late
some
night
money.
squad.
Some money, it's where it's at. I mean,
Team Mayo.
Team Mayo for life. I'm gonna stay in the Mayo theater all week and all month.
What is this Mayo shit?
Just don't. You'll be here for a while if we start
It's
talking
great.
about
Alright.
Alright. But it's,
Moving on.
I've soloed enough, Raids 1 where, if I'm going to do something with like the newbie players that I know that aren't up to TOB levels, it is a nice mix up, it is still an enjoyable form of content that you can do, and still has a PVMing like challenge to it in a way, where you can't be too goofing around because you still have to follow mechanics, but it's still a good time.
Right. My closing point on that, we have 3 TOB and 2 Chambers of Xerix. I'm kind of in between. I honestly, like, wherever my group that I run with, basically wherever they're at, I'm at. If I had to choose one over another, maybe TOB, because it's a newer content. And just being the forefront as like a focus for like speedrunning. It's more fresh. Not everything's really found out. I think there's still methods to be perfected and stuff like that for optimization. So that's kind of where my focus is, but I mean, I can't really turn down efficient 4-1s.
So question.
Yeah.
So that makes it two Theater of Blood, 2 Raids 1, and 2 Theater of Xerix. I feel like people should be the tiebreaker on that last one. Because
I don't know.
I think everyone's perspective is nice, but I think mine and Jeff's answer was kind of like the same, so I feel like that should be its own category.
The theater.
It's too hard to ignore the money at the moment, especially on release from TOV. But overall, I really enjoyed Raids 1 more.
Yeah, I like the solo aspect a lot in Raids 1.
It's the
I do really enjoy solos. I'll tell you.
variety of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's non-linear.
I'm meeting
Exactly.
Jeff.
Huh?
Yeah, teaching
I
people
keep,
crafts
I
as
keep
well.
echoing through your mic.
One sec.
No, it's fine.
I like the aspect of teaching people crabs like foes, people dying at crabs like MK, like small things like that.
Who would die at crabs?
A lot of people that
Do you really want to say that?
Can't relate.
But I don't know, I like the solo aspect for sure. But the money at Theater of Blood is just stupid. Like, especially if you did on release. There's not gonna be any money I think that's ever gonna be like how Theater of Blood was on release. It's just totally different type of money.
Jeff, put it on the screen.
No, don't.
I'm not-
Do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not flashing anything on the screen.
Put it on the screen. The people want it.
Maybe
Putting anything but this.
maybe for next time. Maybe we'll use that as our opener.
Yo, studying is the greatest clan to just roast and have fun, man.
Oh my God.
God.
Hashtag.
Yo, I think I'm gonna make McNeill's picture
Stop.
my background. That's my background, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Before we lose everybody, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the podcast here. Does anyone have any closing questions before I go into the last bit?
Nope.
We good?
Okay.
Study.
Obviously, this was as by the title, this was our first podcast. Hopefully, we can do some in the future. Timeline for that, we're probably looking at maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks for the next one, depending on topic questions and that. If you do have any feedback, which is greatly appreciated, going to be dropping a link in the chat, just a Google form, just to post either responses on questions, maybe something you'd like to see different, or
Oh, Zenite did have a last minute question that we
he?
didn't answer.
oh,
Yeah, eat a dick while sitting on a pie or eat pie while sitting on a dick. I think that's important and we should all respond.
all right. I'll start with this one. Eat dick while sitting
Why
on a
would you
pie,
start with this one?
or eat pie while sitting on a dick?
Oh, that's
Wow.
gay.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Alright.
I feel like that's a flip-flop answer. I'm gonna be good.
I think it's time to make closing remarks, Jeff.
Yeah. Fucking.
Of course, Jeff would start.
What?
Yeah, I'm not responding to that. I
Yeah,
can't
me
believe-
neither.
Oh
We'll
my
take a
God.
skip.
I can't believe you did that.
No. Hey, you know. Sometimes you
We
gotta
got one
do
answer.
what the viewer wants. Okay.
Got one answer.
All right. I'm dropping in a link in the chat for any constructive criticism or comments or concerns or questions you'd like to see on future ones. So there's that. Obviously, in the title we have apply and clan. Clan, you can learn more about stud unit. Apply, the apply link will link you directly to the Google form to apply to stud unit. 126 level PVM clan for those who do not know. Twitter down below in the description of the stud unit Twitter links you directly there at stud unit. If you want to follow my channel, we posted obviously this one here. The next one might be on here, might not be, but if it is, it'll be most likely be here. So if you're going to want to follow this channel, follow my Twitter, Playgrounds OSRS. Is it Foes OSRS on Twitter as well?
Yeah, it's at Foes OSRS. If we're selling out, let's do it.
Didn't ask.
It's not really a sellout, but yeah. McNeill has a Twitter at McNeill OSRS.
Do I?
I have
Yeah,
a
I
Discord.
think so. Discord. Anyone else have a Twitter to keep up with stud unit activity?
The stud unit Twitter? That's probably about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
If you didn't hear me before, stud unit at stud unit. It's on screen as well. Anything you want to say to the viewers before we conclude?
thanks for showing up, letting us and let us know what we could do better, and
Yeah.
hope to do this more often. I think it's pretty fun just hanging around talking, and I think it would be cool getting more different people every 2 weeks or whenever we do the podcast. You get different faces, different perspective. Maybe next time we'll get the Europe side of the clan, or because we just got a little bit American, a little Aussie here and there. Maybe we'll get the other side of the world in here. So thanks for coming and showing
Definitely
us.
trying to mix up guests if we can. If you're interested in coming on the show, obviously you can just put it in the comment section on that form. I'll link it once again if it got lost in chat. Other than that, really appreciate you guys hanging out.
You guys act like we didn't get a site for the fucking thing either, yo. Pick up that Snapdragon seed, you're missing it.
Yeah, thank you. I almost forgot about that. Alright, thank you guys, appreciate it. And see you guys next time.
Snapdragon seed, pick that up.
Tuning in.
Thanks for watching.